Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, also known as Grizzer. And this is where you can get caught up on some of the latest news involving our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everyone who has liked our previous episode and who has subscribed to the channel, and to all of you who have scanned the QR code and become members of the Browns' latest dog pound. Appreciate that. And to everyone who jumps into the viewer comment section to make your voices heard. And boy, oh boy, were you making your voices heard yesterday about the performance of Dylan Gabriel on a Saturday. And so we have a lot to unpack here today. And now, start of the new week, the Rams are coming to town on Saturday. And expect this preseason game with Los Angeles to be treated as a dress rehearsal for the season. Speaking of Dylan Gabriel, now he should have spent his Sunday like sipping lemonade and maybe celebrating his solid performance as Browns quarterback, his debut. But instead, he's doing damage control. But to me, this is exactly what the Browns quarterback room needs right now. I'll explain. I have a list of the best Browns-related fantasy football team names on the planet. And in the viewer comments, what would people say if Shedeur threw a pick six and fumbled? We're going to find out. But first things first, let's look at the schedule, because the game's on Saturday against the Rams, but there's no scheduled availability today. Probably going to be more of a walkthrough, if anything, or film like they would do on a typical Monday. But then they'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday would be more of a walkthrough day, off day, and then Saturday will be the game. They're trying to make this feel like a typical week, like when they play on a Sunday, but they're just, moving it up a day. Next week is when they'll go to your typical normal Sunday routine. And so what this means is we are super close to the start of this season. And this dress rehearsal with the Rams, you're going to need a QB1. And Kevin Stefanski did say yesterday that he would name one this week, and everybody and their brother knows it'll be Joe Flacco. It is the worst kept secret in the National Football League, but Coach Kevin is going to keep us guessing for just a little while longer. Now, the big battle at this point is, the big question is, who is QB2? And after Dylan Gabriel's performance on a Saturday, and you had Shedeur Sanders balling out against the Panthers on that Friday night a couple of weeks ago, to me, Shedeur should be the number two. He should be QB2 for sure. Dylan Gabriel, it's like I said, it was like watching a golfer manage the golf course versus watching Tiger Woods get up there and go to town. Or even like a DeChambeau, just a big hitter, guy you want to watch, must-see TV, where Dylan Gabriel, still effective, but he's going to lay up and he'll take the birdie, and live for the next hole, where, Tiger might go for it and not lay up and try and make eagle. That's the way I feel about the way these quarterbacks are. The other thing I think is this: Dylan Gabriel, to me, still just exudes a left-handed Colt McCoy to me. I can't get it out of my head, which means he would be a great backup quarterback. But at this point, I don't think he's better than Shedeur. I just don't. I don't see it. And so I think Shedeur should be QB2. It should be Flacco, Shedeur, and Dylan Gabriel. The problem is they took Gabriel in the third round. And I don't think they're going to give up on that this early. And it's just going to be a problem. So that's what's going to be in the way of this. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully the oblique thing is behind Shedeur. I thought it was interesting that he was out there throwing and everything. It's like, okay, well, he looked pretty good, moving around and stuff. So hopefully all that's behind him, and He can get some quality reps this week, and then we'll see how much time he gets in the game. But this could be a Flacco for a couple of series, and then let the rookies take over from there. Huntley is, and then remember Joe Thomas said Pickett. Remember he said last week Pickett was still at least 2 weeks away, and so Pickett, he may be out of the mix again this week. And so the other thing Stefanski said heading into this week is that 4 quarterbacks are not sustainable. Now, they kept 4 last year, but that's because they had every intention of trying to trade Jameis Winston. Now, here's what I would say to that. If it's not sustainable, the odd man out is Kenny Pickett, because he has done nothing since we've all shown up here and started watching training camp. He got hurt, and then that was that. So I just don't see how could you, and you saw both rookies are clearly capable of running this offense. And that's the floor. So, and there's, to me, there's no reason to keep Pickett around. You might as well just move forward with Flacco, and then who knows, maybe somebody would want to give you a 5th round pick or something for Pickett. But I think that's where we're at in this quarterback room as we head into this dress rehearsal. I expect a lot of the ones to play maybe the first couple of series on Saturday against the Rams, because then the next time they take the field, it'll be for real, week 1 against Cincinnati. So we'll see how this week plays out. Now, speaking of Dillon Gabriel, like I mentioned, he should have probably been spending his Sunday watching the highlights and and celebrate, not watching the pick six and the fumble, but he should have been focused on his performance on the field. Instead, he had to do damage control because of what he said after he came out. And here's the quote. I'm sure everybody is familiar with it, but here's what he said. He said, "There are entertainers and there are competitors, and I totally understand that. My job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing." And so, of course, as soon as it comes out of his mouth, everybody's like, entertainer? Is he talking about Shedeur? Of course he's talking about Shedeur. And, for him to do this, and then now he's got to backtrack. "Oh, no, I say it all the time," and this and that. Well, I dug and I looked, and I could not find anywhere where he said anything even remotely close to that. I was looking at it. Maybe I missed it. If you got it, send it to me. If he was at Oregon and he used that same quote somewhere, but then there's, his coach at Oregon, he was popping off, at one point, about Colorado, and it's like, why? Why would you have to do that? Because first it was the fumble and the pick six that was going to overshadow his body of work on Saturday. And then now it's what you said after the game that not only overshadows the pick six and the fumble, that overshadows the performance. So nobody is talking about your performance now, Dillon Gabriel, because of what you said. And to me, it's either this. It's either it was a sign of immaturity, maybe, but he's been in college. He was in college for 6 years. He's 25 or whatever. Like he should know better than that, because he should have known he's poking the bear when he says it. But it could have been just pent up frustration of everything he's been listening to over the last 2 months. But everybody's just reporting what they see. They see a guy that looked overmatched, overwhelmed, 6 for 19s, 1 for 5s, like all of it. Everybody's just reporting what they see. So maybe it was just a lot of pent-up frustration. And he thought, I don't know, man, he was smelling himself a little bit and feeling really good about himself, I guess, after that game, and decided to poke the bear. But here's what I'll say. This is exactly what the quarterback room needed. Why? Because he poked the bear. If Shedeur did not have a fire lit under him after watching Saturday's first half, he does now. And to me, that's the worst thing Dillon Gabriel could have ever done. Is there dissension in the quarterback room now? Oh, maybe. There might be. Now, again, not the sign of a leader taking a shot at a teammate like that. And, and I know he's going to deny that there's nobody on the planet that believes he was not talking about Shedeur. And so, to go ahead and do that, that is not the sign of a team leader. That you're supposed to, if you want to be QB1 That's not, in my book, that's not how you get there. And so for him to do that, I just thought was just really out of line. It should have never been said. He should have just stayed away from it. He should have just stayed focused on, the good things he did, fixing the bad things, and then moving on to the Rams. That should have been it. But I don't know, man. It was like a little bit of Baker kind of said stuff like that, but not like that. He never took a shot at a teammate. He was always feeling dangerous and things like that cocky attitude, which we love. We like that. We like that. We like confidence and cocky, but you can't be doing that, man. So I don't know. So we'll see. But yeah, he poked the bear now. So if, like I said, if there wasn't a fire before, you better believe Shedeur's got a fire lit under him now. And so we'll see how it all plays out this week. Now let's have a little fun, okay? Because it's fantasy football time and everybody's having their drafts and, putting their teams together. And when you put your team together, you got to have a team name. And I know that everybody wants to name their team after a Cleveland Browns player or the Cleveland Browns themselves. I know. So I'm here to help. So here's what we're going to do. We got the best Browns-related fantasy football team names. And the one that's number one on the list is what gave me the idea to do this because I thought it was great. And we'll get to it in a second. I feel like David Letterman here because we have the top 10 Browns-related fantasy football team names, starting with number one. Are you ready? It is Flacco Round and Find Out. I saw that. I said, I might have to just put Flacco on my team, not to play him, but just so I can use that team name because I think it's so good. Flacco Round and Find Out. I think I might have to use that. Built for Tough, Jerome Ford. I like this one too. The Miles High Club. If you're an IDP league, I do one IDP league. I like the individual defensive players. You get Miles on your team, you could be the Miles High Club. Judge Judy for Jerry Judy. Knocking on Heaven's Shedeur. I like that. Anything with door is going to work with Shedeur's name. I even saw like the Boys Next Shedeur, things like that. But I think Knocking on Heaven's Shedeur is a pretty good one. Gabriel Force Wins. We'll give Dylan Gabriel a little love there. Like Gale Force Wins, Gabriel Force Wins. Turn Down for Ward. Like Turn Down for Ward. That's a good one. I kind of like that. Again, you got IDPs. You get Denzel Ward on your team. I'd go with that. Turn Down for Ward. How about Stefanskiing Our Way to Victory? Okay. Like skiing our way. Stefanskiing. Which, I mean, if your name ends in SKI, I'm going to kind of like it for personal reasons. But, that one's okay. Dylan Like a Villain for Dylan Sampson. How about that, And then number 10, Brownie Points. Just for if you want one to name, after the Browns, go with Brownie Points. That one's not so bad either. So, and now, don't forget, now we got Judkins back in the fold. You got Bond, Isaiah Bond. I could already see the James Bond type fantasy football team names popping up too. But I thought that Flacco Round and Find Out, I thought that was great. And so I'm sure there'll be a song if he does anything close to what he did in those 5 games in 2023. There'll probably be a Flacco Round and Find Out song. So coming very soon. But hopefully that helps. As you're getting your teams together, hopefully you can find yourself a team name from our list. Now, I'm just going to name my team viewer comments because the viewer comments are always so good. And today we're going to start with Hoops Hits F4E, who says, so let me get this straight. Gabriel throws a pick and fumbles, and y'all still saying he passed the eye test. If that's the standard, no wonder we've been stuck in quarterback hell for 20 years. Shedeur had the juice. Gabriel had the turnovers. Stop sugarcoating it. Here's the thing, Hoops Hits. Shedeur has the juice for sure. Shedeur has the starter trait. When you look at it, he, to me, has the traits of a starting quarterback. Gabriel, traits of a backup. Still, to me, looks like a left-handed Colt McCoy. I'm with you. He passed the test because he was able to run the offense effectively. I mean, essentially, he got him in and out of the huddle. There were a couple, the sacks weren't on him. I know people are trying to pin the sack. The sacks weren't on him. That was just, he had no chance. But what I would say is this. The eye test, and I said this yesterday, Shedeur has that escapability. He has the ability to extend plays. That's the difference for me. Dillon Gabriel, I said, Flacco's a statue. Gabriel is near statue. He's not running away from anybody. And in today's NFL, you've got to have some mobility. Even Mahomes and these guys can move around a little bit. You have to be able to move around. And Shedeur has it. So, and that's all they kept talking about with Pickett, his legs and this and that. Shedeur has it all, man. And so Shedeur's time is coming. He needs to be QB2 now. But I know we're all going to lose our minds when he's not, when the depth chart comes out this week. And I'm telling you, his time is coming. It has to come. But I'm with you, Hoops Hits. I'm with you, baby. KG, 4125. This is a good one. He says, let's be real. Dillon played 6 years in college. He had to get extra work in college to be where he's at. 12 played way better and seems to be a better leader. 12 also doesn't throw shade at teammates like Dillon did in interviews. 100% correct on all of it. And that's a great point. Like Shedeur, total package at this point. In front of the mic, in the community, helping out, whether it's at KFC or organizing event for the fire victims. Or just, he has been the total, and then he's going out on the field and performing. The complete total package. And, we haven't seen that out of Dillon Gabriel, and then, like I said, he went out there. This is his chance to go out there and prove to everybody, I'm better than the 6 for 19. I'm better than the 1 for 5s. And, I'm better than the guy who said I don't even look like an NFL quarterback. I'm better than all that. I get my chance to do it. Goes out there and for the most part showed you're like, okay. Wasn't terrible. He was pretty solid. He was good. And then he goes and, he threw the pick and he has the fumble. But to me, it's getting up there after the game and throwing shade like that. Just can't do it. Uncalled for and not the sign of a leader. And so sign me up for what Shedeur's been bringing all day. I'll take that all day long. Dr. Preston Johnson, 99. Good day. I like that. Good day. I like Dillon. And have followed him since his freshman year at UCF. But why is everybody giving high praise and saying he had a great game? 1, he threw a pick, 6, and a fumble. I am sure if Shedeur threw a pick 6 and had a fumble, people would not say he played great. Dillon had a fair game and where he did some good things. He had not thrown the pick and the fumble, his game would have been great. And that's what I said yesterday. That's exactly what I said. I said the pick and the fumble were going to overcome. Everybody's going to put that out in the front. And like I said, it not only became the 2 turnovers, it was what he said after the game. He buried himself. He just took himself and buried himself once again. After he was solid in that game. Like he was solid. The ball moved. They scored 3 scoring drives. Shedeur had 3 touchdowns. He had a touchdown and 2 field goals. You're still putting points on the board. The defense balled out. So that's where I think the difference is with Dillon Gabriel. I think that if he's out there, you're really going to need the defense to step it up for sure. Where I feel like what Shedeur did, you felt like we were the aggressor on offense. And so you didn't feel like any drive was going to stall. So that's the difference. Now, Gabriel, though, 3rd round pick. So should be Flacco, Shedeur, or Gabriel at this point. V. Capo, 2121. But Dr. Preston, you are right. If Shedeur had done that, threw a pick 6 and fumbled like that, they'd have been all over his ass. For sure. There's no doubt. But I would have said if Shedeur played the way he did, and I'd have said this, I said he looked great. Just take away the turnovers, and it's all great, and that's fixable. But he would have been chewed up in the comments on all of the social media outlets had that happen. You're right, Dr. Preston. Great take. I appreciate it. All right, V. Capo, 2121. Dillon is the pink slip for Stefanski and Barry. So Baranski, if they are hanging their hat on this Dillon Gabriel thing, especially after what we saw on Saturday, he's absolutely, V. Capo is absolutely right. This could be what does them in. Because it was Haslam that forced the Watson thing. And so I keep telling you, I think they get a mulligan for this year because Haslam said big swing and a miss with Watson, and so now that's off to the side. It's out of here. And here, Baranski, do your thing. Go ahead. You guys can pick the quarterback and do that. Now, the third round pick. I'm telling you, if Flacco thing runs its course, and they go with Gabriel second, and Gabriel goes out there, and you still see in the pick sixes, and you still see him not able to run away from defenders. You still see him drive stall, on the 40-yard line, and they don't get him out of there. People are going to go nuts. I will lose my mind if that happens. When you've got a guy who, with starter qualities, sitting right there, get him the opportunity. Do not do like you did with Mayfield and just sit there and Watson and just keep sending him out there. If the Flacco thing runs its course and Gabriel, if they do that and this team goes nowhere with this defense, you're right, V. Capel. This could be the pink slip. This could they are hitch if they hitch their wagon to him. Oh boy, look out! And we'll end on Tiki on pause, who says if Gage Larvidan doesn't make this active roster, something is wrong. And I agree. Larvidan, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Man, he just looks so much like Webster. If you haven't had a chance, go look up Webster Slaughter highlights on YouTube, and you tell me if this does not look like a carbon copy of this is like Gage Larvidan is Webster Slaughter 2.0. Just the more I see him, the more he reminds me of Webster Slaughter, and which is a great thing. And so it's going to be interesting though with Larvidan and in Caden Davis. I see Caden, if there's an odd man out now, Caden Davis might be, with Bond coming into the fold. But I also think Deontay Johnson could be on the bubble because, he hasn't done that much to impress me. Yeah, he's a veteran and all, but Thrash and I know Tillman made a catch yesterday, but, I think they consider him to be the number 2 receiver at this point behind Judy. We haven't even seen Judy yet. But, you have these guys that are younger and it looks like there's no reason why they can't do the job. So, why do you need to keep Deontay Johnson around? Just go youth movement and see what happens. So, I do think though Larvidan has done more than enough to carve himself a spot on this roster already. All right, that's gonna do it for today's show. Thank you so much for watching. We will keep you up to date. This is the last week of the preseason already, folks. We're going to be playing real football here in a couple of weeks. Go Browns! We'll see you next time.